Amud HaYomi Rabbi Yehuda, Achva Zapsala Chasida. Yeah, you say yes? We did it yesterday. I don't think we did this. Eliyahu says to Yehuda Achva Zapsala. I'm going to give you good advice. This is very good advice. Number one is Loi Tirtach. Never get angry. See it? It's a Chatzer Ahron Beis, right?
Yeah. Where's it again?
It's by the Zion. By the Ois Zion. By the Ein Mishpat Zion. Lo Yisirtach. Yeah. She says, don't get angry. If you won't get angry, you will not sin. Don't become intoxicated from drinking wine. And you also won't techti. Now, whenever you go on the road, you should discuss this. You should take advice from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Would say, what does that mean? What's that supposed to mean? It means that you have to ask Hashem to be matzliach. You have to say tfilas haderech. What is tfilas haderech? So we say as follows: you should take me the shalom, and also and guide me in every step I take. That should be the shalom. It is b'cheini the shalom, and it should support me with tatzileni mikaf. Kol oyev ve'oyrev. You should also save me from the enemy, from the steps of the enemy, the foot of the enemy. Ve'oyrev, b'derech, v'tishlach, and ambushes. V'tishlach broch ma'aseh yadai. V'tzitneni l'chein v'chesed l'achim b'necha. Give me chen v'chesed. U'be'enecha roi. Whoever sees me. B'ochat Hashem shemet tefillah. That tefillah. So that's Rabbi say we are on the last word of Chatzer Ahron Beis. The last word, Amar Abaye. Abaye says, La'olam, L'shatef inish nafshev haritzibur. Now, whenever a person, this is a rule, whenever we daven, the best, in order to make the tefillah effective, we need to include ourselves with the tzibur. So hachanami. So therefore, he says, I would edit this nusach of tefillah derech. I would say it as follows. This is how we do it. Don't just talk about yourself. You're not the only one out there on the road. Everyone, daven for everybody. And he says as follows. Again, we're at the top of Daf Lamed. He says as follows. So yeah, everything should be in plural form. Etc. So effectively, Gemara, Amos Matzli. When do you say tefillas haderech? When do you say it? Do you say it in the morning when you get up? Say it in the middle of your trip. When you go out on the road, ad kama. Now, at what point on the road? At what point is it too late or too? So it's too. So the more answers at parsa, up into a parsa. Now the Rashi brings two interpretations in that. That means you have to say it in the first parsa. That's called going on the road, and really should be said then. Although if you don't say it then, you somewhat missed it. And the Bahag says that's the distance you're traveling. That's a minimum distance that we instituted to say it for. Now, Rav Chisda says you should stop your traveling and stand and concentrate and say it. Don't just say it, as you know. We say no. She says, listen, it's tefillas haderech. That's what they say. Sometimes they could, a joke. Aleinu is not tefillas haderech. But tefillas haderech you can say when you're moving, when you're walking. Rav Chisda, Rav Sheshes, havika azli ba'urcha. So the more there's a story, they're going on the road, come Rav Chisda, and v'kamatzli. So Rav Chisda stopped. And he said, no, I'm saying, Mezok tefillas haderech. Amud Rav Sheshes, Shami, Micah of, what's he doing? Makam Rav Chisda, Amalei kamatz koin matzli. Amalei ukbenami lididi. So if he's davening, he stopped. By the way, so if Sheshes is blind, so he didn't know exactly what was going on, but he sensed that Rav Chisda stopped. So he said, if Rav Chisda stopped to daven, then I also want to stop. Why? Because why you have to do exactly what he does. Teretz is, why am I in such a rush? I'm in a rush because the caravan here, the whole tzibur is traveling. I want to be stuck. But once he stopped, I also want to stop. If you always, this is a rule. Whenever you have the opportunity to do something better, to be toiv, don't be ra. Okay. Now, Rabbi said we're going back to the Mishnah to explain. What is the difference in the Mishnah? We spoke about, he said as follows in the Mishnah. We said that we said Me'ein Shmona Esrei, which is Havinenu, as we said, what the Gemara explained before. And then Yeshua says when you go into a dangerous place, you say a short version of Tefillah. We said in the Mishnah. Okay? So the Gemara asks the kasha, what's the difference? What's Havinenu? What's the difference? Meaning to say, we know the difference. We said with it's not Tefillah Tzara is a very specific thing. But what's halachically the difference when I say Havinenu, when I say Tefillah Tzara? So Havinenu, so there's a big difference. Number one is, when we say Havinenu, you say Havinenu again, we said yesterday, the other day before, it's Me'ein Shmona Esrei. It's a very abridged version of the Shmona Esrei. It's one bracha. We get all the 18 brachas, or all at least the bakashas of the brachas, into one bracha. All 12 into one bracha. So Havinenu, boy, the tzligim kamayz, it's right. But you have to say the first three and the second three. You have to say avos. You have to say moedim. That you have to say. You do say, and then you say the middle. Use Havinenu. I'm sorry. Now, and therefore Havinenu actually replaces Shmona Esrei. If you said Havinenu properly, you need not repeat Tefillah. Whereas Tefillah Tzara, it's just one Tefillah. It's just a short Tefillah we said in the Mishnah, and therefore it doesn't really replace. It's a Tefillah that you can use, when you really it's time to daven and you're unable to do that because you're traveling, but it doesn't replace your tefillah. Havinenu mu'umad, it's one nafka mina. Havinenu is Shmona Esrei, so you have to stop and say it. Tefillah tzara ben mu'umad ben mahalach. Hayarechiv al chamor. Yeah, so we said like this. It says in the Mishnah, if you're Reichav al Chamor, you should try, if you could, you should go down and daven. If you can't, you should face the right way. If not, you should be chavin libud. You should have in your heart that you're facing the right way. So the words are explained. Now, again, really, davening on the Chamor is not a way to concentrate when you daven Shmona Esrei. So if someone can hold your donkey, let him hold it and go down. If not, you should just daven there. There's only the choice. Rebbe disagrees. He says, listen, a guy's on the road. It's not an eitzah. You have to let him daven there. Otherwise, he can't concentrate. Halacha is kirebi. You're allowed, since you're on the road, you're traveling, you're allowed to do it that way. Ton Rabbanan. Summa. If a person can't see, or anyone, if you're traveling, you're in the middle, you're traveling out in Texas or something, somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and you have no idea which way Yerushalayim is. So you're lost because you don't know, you can't figure out, you don't know the directions. You're chavin, or whatever, you're in a place, you're in a building and you don't know the directions. You're chavin liboy keneged av Yerushalayim, vispala el Hashem, vispala, Shneimar, sorry, how do we know that? Vispala Hashem. So okay, that's when you have no choice. In other words, the basic idea of tefillah is ispal to Hashem. That's the ikar. Now we're going to go through those rules of really we're trying to direct our tefillahs. And it goes as follows. So if a person's in America, in a Chutz La'aretz, so then depending where you are, which direction is whatever it is, Yechav is sleeping connected to Yisrael. Shem Yisparol Elav Derech Artzam. Shlomo HaMelech says that when Hashem is going to make the Beis HaMikdash, He's going to make this Eretz Yisrael Beis HaMikdash the place in the land of Eretz Yisrael where the tefillahs go up to Shemayim. So you have to face. So therefore, if you're in the Western countries, you're in Europe, you're in America, so which direction you faced? East. That's called El Derech Artzam. Hayomei be'eretz Yisrael, Yichavas L'Yuknei Yerushalayim. If you're in the north, so then face the south to Yerushalayim, because the tefillah is shenemar. How do we know that? V'spal El Derech El Hashem Derech Ha'ir. That Hashem is going to make it that the tefillahs are going to go up to Hashem through the Ir Yerushalayim. Asher b'charta, Hayom Yerushalayim. Oh, like we're in Yerushalayim. So what do we daven? Yichavin esli b'knei Beis Hamikdash. Then we spell el Beis Abayis hazeh to this house of Hashem. Hayom Beis Hamikdash. Yichavin b'knei Kodesh Kodeshim. You face the Kodesh Kodeshim. Then we spell el Mokom hazeh. Sorry, if he's oimid b'beis Kodesh Kodeshim, then Yichavin will go to mamish. The center of the kedusha is the kapiris, where they're. Yichavin can get base a kapiris to the kapiris itself is in the center of the Kodesh Kodeshim, which obviously that's only the Kohen Gadol and Yom Kippur is in there, but yeah. Now, let's say you're standing behind, which means to say really you're outside the Beis Hamikdash, but usually you enter the Beis Hamikdash on the Mizrach, and now you're standing on the other side of the Beis Hamikdash, which is, by the way, exactly that's where we stand today. We go to Kosem Aravi, that's behind the Kaparis. It's the other side. So here it says a little interesting connection. You imagine you're in front of the Kaparis. So therefore, it comes out as follows: Nimsa oime b'mizrach machzor panav l'mayrav. If you're in the east, you face west. B'mayrav, and if you're in the west, you turn the other direction again, like we do. We're in the Kosem Aravi, so we're machzor panav l'mizrach. B'daroim, if you're in the south, right? You're in whatever it is in the south. You're in Tifrach, but they're machzor panav l'tzafon, face north. Tzafon, if you're in the north, in Miroton, machzor panav l'darim, you face Yerushalayim. So everyone is aiming at the same place. We praise Jewish people, but it's like a reference to Yerushalayim. Your neck is like the Migdal David. Bani the tapiyos. Tel shekol peyos piyos peinim olav. It's like it's a drush that it's the what do you call it? The mound, the hill that all the lips, all the mouths face when they daven. Okay, the word tells a ma'asav Uda Shmuel Levi. Now there's going to have two halachas here about what are the halachas when a person has to leave early in the morning. Now here's a problem. I didn't daven yet. What do I do? So you should daven first. That means to say it's too early to say Kriya Shema, right? So you should daven Balois, even though you can't say Kriya Shema. Kriya Shema, Kori. Now, why is it not about Kriya Shema? It's a little bit confusing. So I think Rashi explains it. Rashi says a difficult thing. He says it was Kodem HaYomi. So I have to know what that means. Taisus asks in Rashi, Kodem HaYomi, what do you mean? Kodem HaYomi. doesn't make sense. Then you can't daven either. So Tosfos explains that Mi'ol Amud HaShachar was time to daven. You could daven Shacharis, and even though it's not the Ikar Zman Tefillah, and Kriya Shema, it's not this Zman Kriya Shema. Maybe they couldn't put on Tefillin yet. It wasn't Zman Tefillin. So they'd say, so they would get to the bottom line is they would daven Shemona Esrei first, and then when it come later on, Kriya Shema, they would say Kriya Shema. Come on. Just like we say, a person when he goes early, Mevin L'Shefer to Keilulu, all these mitzvahs are from Alei Shachar, for Kareba. Yes, man, Kriya Shema, Kareh. And then later on, Kriya Shema, you say Kriya Shema. Hishkim L'Shei Pekar B'Sfina. Now let's say, similarly, he goes out, he's going on a trip, goes in the car. Here it says the wagon or the boat. Mispalo. Same thing. Right? No. Disagrees. In this case, where you are sitting down, you are traveling, and you can't really stand up in daven. It's true. You're in a wagon, you're in the boat, maybe you're moving, it's not good. But no. Preferably here, just wait till Zman, say Kriya Shema, and daven. Even though you can't stand up. I believe it's here, mu'mid means not necessarily stopping, but I think just even standing up. And therefore, you should daven before you go on your trip. And you'll say Kriya Shema later, because this way at least you're standing, right? Before you have to get on the plane, daven, and then go on the plane. When you won't be able to stand up. No, you're going to daven now, and you're going to give up the ability to put gula, Kriya Shema, with the Birkas Kriya Shema next to Tefillah. You don't want to do that. So daven sitting down, daven in a little bit of wait. Similarly, the Gemara tells a story. They would gather a minyan before they went to give shiur. No, for some interesting minute, they would give shiur, a special shiur on Yontiv. First now, in the days of the Chazal, people were up first thing in the morning. They're up at 8. So it's time for shiur. So when he daven, so they would daven beforehand. Umatz, they get a minyan, then they would give shiur. So if Ashi matz the body tzibure, now that's what Merei Marzutra did. Now if Ashi also would give shiur, but he would do it differently. He would just give shiur, and then when it would come time for the shiur, when it come time for Kriya Shema, it would come Neitzachama. It was already the shiur started before Neitzachama. He would daven with the tzibur b'yachid miyushiv. He would just kind of stop the shiur for a minute and just say Kriya Shema and Shemona Esrei while he's sitting down. Interesting. He have also the base. So now because he davened sitting down, he's wasn't full concentration. He would repeat daven. That's not pashut. Haru matzim umid. Why don't you just daven beforehand? First of all, after go get a minyan and this, it's complicated. That's fine. So why don't you do at least like Avud Shmuel v'Levi? Again, what did they do? They just davened. 1 second. Hold on. What did they do? Avud Shmuel v'Levi. They would just daven. B'chidus. They would daven b'chidus before they went on the trip. So do like that. Well, why davening in the middle and they have to daven again? So he says, you know what? I never saw this business. The people that davening Shemona Esrei, and then after, and not Gula L'Tefillah, and afterwards they do it. No. I do Kriya Shema, Gula, and Tefillah. That's how my Rebbe did it. That's how I do it. Okay, we'll stop here.